Welcome back to our reading of Treasure Island. Today we're on Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the last chapter to part 1 of this book. So this chapter is on the captain's papers. We rode hard till we drew up before Dr. Livesey's door. His maid told us that he had gone to the hall to pass the evening with the squire. When we arrived there, the servant showed us into the library where the squire and Dr. Livesey sat on either side of a bright fire. The squire was a tall man, and he had a rough and ready face. His eyebrows moved readily, and this gave him a look of temper. He looked angry. "Come in, Mr. Dance," says he, very stately. "Well, good evening, Dance," says the doctor with a nod. "And good evening to you, Jim. What wind brings you here?" The supervisor stood straight and stiff and told his story. The two gentlemen leaned forward and forgot to smoke their pipes in their interest. When they heard how my mother went back to the inn, Dr. Livesey slapped his thigh, and the squire cried, "Bravo!" "Mr. Dance," said the squire, when the story was finished, "you are a noble fellow." "And so, Jim," said the doctor, "you have what they are after, have you?" "Well, here it is," said I. "Squire," he said, "Dance must be off on his Majesty's service, but I meant to keep Jim Hawkins here to sleep at my house. With your permission, I propose we should let him eat." A big pigeon pie was brought in, and I made a hearty supper, while Mr. Dance was further complimented and dismissed. "Now, squire," said the doctor, "you have heard of this Flint, I suppose?" "Heard of him!" cried the squire. "He was the bloodthirstiest buccaneer that sailed. Blackbeard was a child to Flint. Supposing I have in my pocket some clue as to where Flint buried his treasure, will that treasure amount to much?" asked the doctor. "If we have the clue you talk about," said the squire, "I will fit out a ship in Bristol and take you and Hawkins along, and have that treasure if I search a year." Well, the doctor laid the bundle before him on the table. It was sewn together, and the doctor had to cut the stitches with his medical scissors. It contained two things, a book and a sealed paper. So what they're talking about right now, guys, is that oilskin pouch, right? So Jim couldn't even open it because it had actually been sewn together, sewn shut. And so the Dr. Livesey, is cutting it apart with his medical scissors carefully and has uncovered a book and a sealed paper. Now the squire and I peered over the doctor's shoulder as he opened the book. On the first page there were scraps of writing, one the same as the tattoo. "Billy Bones his fancy." Most of the words were unintelligible, meaning you couldn't even make sense of it. It was so sloppy. The next 10 or 12 pages were filled with a curious series of entries. There was a date at one end of the line, and at the other a sum of money, with a varying number of crosses between the two. On the 12th of June, 1745, for instance, a sum of £70 had been due to someone, and there was nothing but 6 crosses to explain the cause. In a few cases, the name of a place would be added, as off Caracas, or an entry of latitude and longitude, so coordinates. The record lasted over nearly 20 years, the amount of the separate entries growing larger as time went on, and at the end a grand total had been made out and these words appended: "Bones, his pile." Well, this is an account book," cried the squire. An account book is where you keep track of all of your money in and out. "These crosses stand for the ships or towns they sank or plundered. The sums are the scoundrel's share. As the amounts increase, he rose in rank, and now the other." Now the doctor opened the paper with great care, and there fell out the map of an island, with the latitude and longitude, soundings, the names of hills, bays, and inlets, and every particular needed to bring a ship to a safe anchorage upon its shore. So everything they needed to go find this island was on this paper, on this map. It was about 9 miles long, so the island's about 9 miles long and 5 miles across, shaped like a fat dragon standing up, had 2 fine, landlocked harbors, and a hill in the center marked the Spyglass. Now, there were several additions of a later date, but above all, 3 crosses of red ink, 2 on the north part of the island, 1 in the southwest, and, beside the last, in the same red ink, and in a small, neat hand, very different from the captain's tawdry characters, these words, Book of Treasure Here. Can you guys imagine if you found a treasure map like that? Oh my goodness, wouldn't you be so excited? So not only was there 1 X, there were 3 X's. And then in this really nice and neat handwriting, one of them said Book of Treasure Here. On the back, in the same hand, so in this nice and neat handwriting, it says, Tall tree, spyglass shoulder, bearing a point to the north of north-northeast, Skeleton Island, east, southeast, and by east 10 feet. The bar silver is in the north cache. Find it by the trend of the east hummock, 10 fathoms south of the crag with the face on it. The arms are in the sandhill. North, point of North Inlet Cape, bearing east and a quarter north. Signed, J.F. Now, as brief as it was, and to me it was incomprehensible, meaning he couldn't make any sense of it. This is Jim's thinking. It filled the squire and Dr. Livesey with delight. So Dr. Livesey and the squire are getting very excited reading this. But Jim's standing there like, what in the world? I have no idea what he's talking about. So the squire says, tomorrow I start for Bristol. In 10 days we'll have the best ship and crew in England. Hawkins shall come as a cabin boy. You, Livesey, are ship's doctor. I am admiral. We'll take Redruth, Joyce, and Hunter. So this is the names of 3 other men that he trusts. We'll have no difficulty in finding the spot, and money to roll in ever after. So they're very excited. They're coming up with a plan to go find this treasure that's on this map. And when he's saying he'll go to Bristol, he's going to go get the best ship that he can find and the best crew he can find in all of England. I'll go with you, said the doctor. So will Jim. There's only one man I'm afraid of. Name the dog, sir, cried the squire. You, replied the doctor, for you cannot hold your tongue. Others know of this paper. These fellows who attacked the inn tonight and the rest who stayed aboard the lugger are bound that they'll get that money. None of us should go alone. Jim and I shall stick together. You take Joyce and Hunter to Bristol, and not one of us must breathe a word of what we found. The squire says, I'll be as silent as the grave, said the squire. So this ends the first part of the book. So all leading up to this has been leading up to this adventure they're about to embark on. So they're saying that between Dr. Livesey and the squire and Jim, and along with these other 3 men, they are going to take a ship and go find a crew that they can trust, and they're going to head out to find this treasure. But they have to be extremely careful because other people know about this treasure map, right? All these pirates know about this treasure map, and they're trying to find it, and they don't know that Dr. Livesey and the squire know about it. So they have to sneak around without telling anyone what they're doing, because if they're not careful, they'll get the wrong people on board the ship, right? And that would be very dangerous. So inside the oilskin pouch, they have found an account book that lists all the money coming in and out, and they found a treasure map. And in this treasure map, there are directions, which is what we just read about, right? The tall tree, the spyglass shoulder. These are directions to exactly where to find the treasure that they're after. So they are going to, Dr. Livesey and the squire are going to take Jim Hawkins along on this voyage to find this treasure, because he's the one who has brought them the map, and they feel it's only right. And they found out that he may be a boy, but he's actually a very smart boy. And they value him going on this journey with them. And they're saying that once they find all this money, they're going to have enough money to last their lifetime. Okay, so we're going to finish this up today with part 1, and then you've got some vocabulary matching that you're going to have to do, and you need to write down some of your notes for today, and then make sure you listen to the discussion, and we'll go back through and discuss all of this, okay? All right, see you later.